Hi everyone, welcome to the channel, Irregular Bonsais. Today we're gonna be working on my Rio Grande cherry. I bought this as a seedling last spring, a year and a half ago, and I wired it straight up, cut some branches on the inside of the main trunk and let it grow. It was covered by what it seemed to be a good soil, but it turned out to be pure clay. So today we're gonna be getting into the roots, pruning the roots, choosing the best roots for the nebari, replanting it on a new pot. We're gonna be taking all the wires that are starting to bite into the trunk. We're gonna eliminate some branches to leave the main and most necessary branches for this last budding of the season, which is starting. I can see the plant throwing some buds after the heat of the summer. And yeah, that shows me that the plant is gonna start growing a little bit more before the winter, which it shouldn't lose all the foliage, but because it's so warm over here and these kind of cherries are from Brazil, so it's the only type of cherry that I can grow in this area, which is at sea level, really hot. We don't really get strong winters or cold winters, so the other type of cherries are not really available for me. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start by taking the wires off. For this you're gonna need a wire cutter. Some of the places I'm gonna try to just untwist it, which is not really recommended, but yeah, let's start with it from the lower branches, and I'm gonna guess the smallest diameter wire, being very careful with the branches that are very tender, and always holding behind on the previous loop. So whatever you untwist, you don't break anything. And even though you're being very careful, you might hear an occasional snapping, which is never good in bonsais. Depending on the plant, you'll try to save it, and depending on also the structure of the tree, being very careful. I could have defoliated the tree before taking the wires off, but I feel like once I take the wires I might not need some of the branches. That's fine. The wire has started to bite into the trunk and into the branches, so that's gonna leave some scarring. We're gonna cut the wire on each one of the loops, and as you do that, they should all detach. This is one of the tools that I highly recommend getting, a specialized bonsai tool, as anything else you can find on the hardware store might cut the wire very nice, but it will also hurt the plant in the process. These wire cutters are meant to really not touch the plant at all. Okay, let's get dirty, because I really don't think that this transplant is gonna be a clean transplant. First of all, you should tap on the pot just to like loosen the soil, which is gonna be a lump of clay that I don't know how this poor tree has survived in it for so long. So let me flip this over here, try to get this out of here. Wow, can already see a taproot that is really long. I'm gonna have to address it. All right. With the rake and with circular motions, we're gonna see if there is any nutrients in this soil. Wow, horrible. Plant should have more air. Oh, maybe in the center we're gonna find a root ball and some interesting roots, but so far clay, 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 clay. Horrible. Look at this. Horrific. Let's try to lift it. Okay. Let's put this aside. Discard of this soil somehow. Oh, all right. Now let's see these roots very gently. It has one clear taproot, but on top of that, I feel like it's safe enough to just cut this one, right? And okay, it's not bad. I'm gonna cut some ends. It really is kind of an emergency transplant because I don't feel like the tree has grown too much in a year and a half. And now we're gonna move into the transplant and repotting the pot. Now for the repotting, I'm gonna use this plastic deeper than we would want it to container. I'm not gonna use one of my ceramic that I'm making myself. I'm sure you guys would like to know what's happening with my ceramics and pot making. Due to COVID-19, we seem to have stopped our meetings for a little while. I hope I can go back to it soon and make some videos for the channel. I have some projects waiting for me in the studio. Okay, what we're doing now is kind of diagonally crossing the wire, half, right? These are gonna be our anchor wires for the pot. I don't feel like these pots have hole big enough for me to worry about drainage loosage. I'm gonna put some volcanic pebbles at the bottom of it. Then we're gonna put some of my most fertile. I use more worm castings and a little bit of more of dark matter and proper soil. This one has some aquarium rocks, black, perlite, vermiculite, and volcanic rock. That's what it's kind of available for me now. Now let's think about the angle of planting. As the nebari is pretty flat, the roots are going circular, in a circular mode. We didn't lose so many roots cutting that top one. I feel like this would be a good angle for the tree. Let's put a little bit more soil, little mountain. What you want to do is kind of tight and twist. For this one, we're gonna do the same from the front. We're gonna meet them both right here. Twist just to hold it. Gonna cut the spare. Now with our pliers or gin pliers, we tighten this down. Kind of dancing still. I'm gonna tighten it a little bit more. Press down. Cover with some more soil. And now with your trusty chopstick, we're gonna incorporate soil in between the rocks, in between the roots of the base of the tree, stabilizing it, preventing air pockets which will cause the roots to dry. It's a very sensitive time for the plant right now. We're gonna be cutting some foliage to alleviate that stress that we're causing. Okay. We didn't really talk about the base of the plant and where it was in its thickest, because there was no difference. It's all growing a pencil thick for 7 centimeters, and there is no enlargement of the bottom part of the plant, which only means the plant was not getting enough nutrients in this year and a half that has been in the soil. All right, let's do some branch selections and kind of like leave this tree with the only branches we want to fortify before the winter and before spring, of course, and when we want it to like really explode in growth. This one is a really annoying little branch. Let's start from the lower part. Lowest branch. I will not cut any branches now unless they are in the wrong place and I left them last time, because I want the tree to get as thick as possible and not lose the foliage that will need to recuperate from this repotting and all this massive work we're gonna be doing on it. So gonna be cutting this one on the opposite side. Gonna leave this one. Gonna leave this one. Gonna leave 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm gonna cut. And when I do that, I'm leaving only the last leaf and cutting the base of the rest. Now this is a defoliation kind of work where you want to leave at the end to prevent that receding of sap from the tree, and it won't die. If you cut too many and you leave the branch with no leaves, it will die on you. Let's cut this one. This one is already splitting. I'm gonna cut the original one. Leave these two. Leave this. Leave these two. Okay, after a practically full defoliation, full transplant, root cutting, and thorough washing and rinsing of the soil and draining it, letting it drain, now we're gonna place the tree on a shady spot with some sunlight. I'm gonna place it on a spot that gets some sunlight in the late afternoon, just so we get some photosynthesis going with the terminal buds that we left. They're not terminal buds, they're terminal leaves for us now, and we're gonna expect some budding before the winter and some extra branching. We're not gonna do anything for at least 2 or 3 months. I'm sure we're gonna do an update on when it bounces back and not when I add it to the cemetery area. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. If you like today's video and you're more interested on following this Rio Grande cherry, maybe I can get some bigger trees. We can work on the specimen. I'm gonna leave a link to the most beautiful Rio Grande cherry bonsai tree I've ever seen from one of my Brazilian channels that I follow. You should guys go and look it up. Speaking Portuguese or not, I'm pretty sure he has some subtitles into English. Amazing channel. I'll leave the description in the link in the description, and hope to see you next time.